Hey, party people, and welcome to this episode of But Are You Weird? A podcast dedicated to spending time talking with some creative, captivating, and downright cool people, diving into their world and ultimately asking, but are you weird? I'm Amanda, your host and resident weirdo, and I'm so happy that you're here today. And our guest on this episode is my friend, Mike. Yay, it's Mike.
Hey.
We have known each other for, how long have we?
Easily since 08, 09.
Really?
Stinky Cakes days.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's like 18 years.
Crazy, right?
Which is a long time. And it just so happened that I just bumped into you, a few months ago. And it was like, I guess I'm going to do my podcast in a weird order right now. I'm going to tell you why you were invited. It was like we never skipped a beat. Like
It's
I
crazy,
saw
right?
you and the joy that you had on your face, the like you recognized me, I recognized you. It felt so nice. And I remember telling my husband, I was like, I know him from so long ago. Like, he's such a good guy, like such a supportive person. And you were back then and you still are now. You're such a good human. And
Thank
I'm
you.
so thankful. I'm so thankful to have known you and to know you. And now to think about all of the stuff that you've done in those last 18 years. You've done a lot.
No pressure. No pressure now.
I know. So with that, going now backwards, can you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, what's meaningful to you, however you want to interpret that question. Just let people know who you are.
Yeah, I love your title, Resident Weirdo. I think I might be second in command with that. You know, I'm a people lover. I love people in pursuit of their dreams and in pursuit of their success, and I just love letting people know that they're doing a great job when they are. And and I'm also I'm a compliment giver, but I'm a genuine compliment giver. So I think that's what you see more than anything else. So like I remember when I first saw your cake designs, and I was like, and you got to remember at this time, like I was obsessed with Cake Boss too, and I was like, man, she's up there with Buddy. Like I don't know if she knows how good she is. Like she's really good. So it was always great seeing you work, and you've always been incredibly talented. But yeah, I think me in a nutshell, I'm an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. I'm a marketer. I love advertising. I love telling people about things that they would love and buy if they knew it existed. And I think everything that I do is around that space. But yeah, that's just me. I'm Mike, public speaker, author, all sorts of things, man. I think whatever my brain tells me to go and pursue, I go and do it. I do what I call the LBW, the long, lonely, boring work, until we make the dream come true. And that's why I'm so obsessed with people making their dreams come true, because it's a lot of work to do it. So when you see someone has the gusto to go after it, I just feel obligated to let them know I see them.
I've been thinking about that LBW a lot because I've been seeing you post about it, that long, lonely, boring work. And that really is what it is, like putting in that effort when nobody's looking, doing all that hard work that then pays off in the end.
That's it. No, I've studied success. I grew up as a reader, and I always saw the patterns of people that made it happen, and none of them ever said they were overnight success or they just got lucky. And they don't. Sometimes they don't even really describe it. They just talk about the work that they've done, and seeing that pattern helped me pursue my dreams and help a lot of people pursue theirs, because the people that are going to become successful, they do the LBW. We call it L instead of LL because sometimes it's long, sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's boring, but it's definitely going to be work. So the L's drop. But I think the people that are listening to this, that are pursuing something right now, hearing you talk about LBW, me talk about LBW, then you start to see it everywhere. They go, man, that's actually refreshing. It lets people know that they're on the right path when they're doing that work.
Mm-hmm. You talked about when you were little being a reader, and I'm thinking about the Myke that I know, the Myke that I know from years ago. And then I think about little Myke. When you were little, what did you want to do when you grew up?
You know what's funny? So I wanted to be a architect. So I wanted to be two things. I wanted to be an architect and I wanted to be a successful business owner. I actually grew up in the Bahamas, Freeport, Bahamas, and a little time I spent in Exuma, Bahamas. And I just remember like we would go to Florida at least once a year, Disney or something, Fort Lauderdale, something. We just go to Florida. And I just remember like my stepdad, I wrote about this in my book with my son, Unrealistic. But I remember my adopted father, he had this pest control business. So we'd be driving in Florida and I was just remember thinking like, man, if his business was in America, we'd be rich because he made most of his money spraying the one grocery store on the island, the two hotels, a few restaurants, that's where he made the most of his money. But we only had limited amount of those things. And then just picture like driving down this stretch in America and seeing, a bunch of grocery stores, a bunch of
You're like,
hotels.
we could go there, we could go there, we could do like, that place.
We'd be loaded. So like that's where that dream. I never really told anybody about that. I didn't know how it worked. Right? You must say, man, one day I want to have a business here and to be able to do that, I think is really cool. And then the other thing, like I said, I wanted to be an architect. Because we built a couple homes, like we built a home on Exuma, and then we moved back to Freeport, and we built a home in Freeport. And I just remember sitting in those meetings with the architects, and they would have the blueprints, and I just thought that was so cool how it went from, because like for me, it was like it went from this person's idea to like being a real house, and then I end up getting like some kind of like not CAD software, but it was like a mock-up junior version of like CAD. And I remember designing homes on it. I was like, oh man, this is so cool. And I didn't know nothing about nothing.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to be an architect.
The thinking about blueprints, that is really exciting, even for me too. Like you see this map and it's like, okay, we're going to take this flat picture and we're somehow going to make it into something that's real that people can actually live in. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
And I also have to say, just thinking about what you wanted to be when you were little, I think you still achieved a lot of that. Like when you told your story about, driving through and seeing all the grocery stores in America, like that was little Myke looking at opportunity, right? Like seeing what everyone else might take for granted and seeing like, no, that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity. Like we can pursue that. And then the architect, I mean, that really speaks to that long, lonely, boring work of like, here's this vision or here's this idea. Like, okay, now you have to do the work, put in the work to turn it into something. And then that's also to get like super corny for a second, the architect in terms of like building your dream, being an entrepreneur, like that opportunity, finding opportunity, and then finding a way to make it work. And you are like the ultimate entrepreneur, I would say. Like when I think about someone who I feel like you, from what I know of you, like you get very excited by people's passions. And I think you've already mentioned that, but like that is really exciting because a lot of people are very quick to say, oh, that's unfamiliar. That's not how we've always done it. That's a wild idea. And you're like, no, you're on to something there. Right. And to get excited about that, like that, your spirit like shines through in all of that. And you've always, me, have been that way. And I love that the most about you, like that consistency. Like, I know what I'm going to get when I talk to you. I know what I'm going to get when I see you.
That's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's me. Like, I'm not a huge part of your life. I'm in and out. But like, I think about all the people who you are interacting with regularly who get, I don't know, the joy of being with you and having that contagious energy and that support. I just think, when I had my cake business, Sweetie Cakes, like you were always clapping for me. And that is pretty neat.
Nah, you listen, you got them hands, man. I hope your family's still getting some of them Sweetie Cakes exclusives because you had those hands. Yeah. Now, I genuinely just love being people's cheerleader, man. Like, being an entrepreneur, being business person, pursuing success in any level is difficult. And I gotta just pause and tell you like my definition of success. So I borrowed this from Earl Nightingale. And you listeners, if you never heard The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, I urge you, it's about 30 minutes long. Jump on YouTube, jump on Spotify, or wherever you listening to this podcast. I'm search The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale and listen to it. But in it, he talks about success. And he said, success is the steady progression of a worthy ideal or goal. So whatever you set your mind to is the thing that you want to do. You put in what I call the LBW, the long only born work. When you get to that goal, that's success. And I think if more people, so many people equate success with money, and money often is like is proof of success, or like it's evidence of success. But success is setting that goal and moving towards it. So when I see someone that set a goal and they moving towards it, like I just like to know, like, yo, I see you keep going up the hill. You got it. You got it. Because a lot of times people don't have anybody telling them that.
I like what you said about money being the evidence of success, of it not. I mean, I think a lot of people, hopefully, would say, like, yeah, money isn't everything, right? It's not what success is. But I like the idea of thinking about the evidence of it. And now I'm trying to think, like, what are some other things that are evidence of success? And maybe, do you have any ideas? Like, what else?
Yeah. So check this out. So say someone's a runner, they training for the Olympics, right? And I don't know the record times, but let's just say the record time is 12 seconds or whatever they're running, right? And right now their personal best is 14 seconds. So getting on to 13.5, that's success. Getting on to 13, that's success. Getting on to 12.5, that's success. Now, if they end up breaking that goal, breaking that record, that's like the ultimate, right? But every time you improve, that's success. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like is these incremental things, and you can consistently put in the work. So when you were first learning to decorate cakes, you were probably not as amazing as you are now. but you were like, oh my, I got the fondant to stay on. Boom, success. Oh my goodness, I mixed this color right. All of this stuff. So by the time we see your work, like 5, 10, 15 years later, however long you've been putting that work in, by the time as we see it, it's like, oh my goodness, she's a master. And so you could, like, when you see someone that put that mastery into their craft, you know, they didn't wake up that way. Yeah. So that's the thing that I also love to celebrate is the mastery. It's kind of like back in the day when they used to have the symphonies, or people used to go to like go and watch the people play an instrument in the big stadiums, and they just look and they go, why are we sitting there enjoying this person playing the cello? It's not the person playing the cello. We that's cool, but we enjoy that mastery because we know if we picked up that cello, there's no way we're gonna make it sound like the person that mastered it. So like celebrating the mastery that's the thing, and that's success, putting in that work and getting better and better and better and better. And you know the funny thing, the people that master the thing, they'll tell you they're still practicing, they're still working. They'll tell you there's so much room to improve. They're never at the pinnacle. There's no apex. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that. I'm thinking like something that I've been working on is editing, of course, but editing video and audio. And I'm by no means, super fantastic yet, but I do get that excitement when I learn something new. And that does feel like success. Like, it's not, like you said, like that big goal that's out there, but all of those little pieces all add up.
That's what becomes success. That's what becomes the thing. I'm telling you this. So when my son and I, we go into schools speaking to kids, like K through 12 in college market, every time we go, no matter what level, we help them understand that definition of success. It's so liberated. Like now the pressure there's no pressure anymore. And if you decide to put that thing down that you're doing, the mastery is never wasted. Something else that you're going to pick up, some of those lessons that you learned from, I promise you, some of the lessons you learned in your cake decorating business, even if it's just patience, yes, right? You use now as you edit in your podcast. Like the mastery is never wasted. And what that thing that you end up becoming may be something complete. The thing that you master and end up becoming maybe something completely different than where you started. But like I said, that mastery is never wasted. And then that's where you become what you are. Like going back to wanting to be an architect, like I still feel like I'm an architect, just a different kind of architect. Like the I craft marketing campaigns and advertising campaigns, and I got to put things together, and I got to use these different tools to make this whole thing work. So like, when I was learning how to structure these designs, I didn't know. I was learning the patience, or learning how to navigate softwares and doing all the things that I now use to design billboards, or to create audio ads. I didn't know that, but that's what I'm saying. The mastery is never wasted.
Mm-hmm. I totally get it. Yeah. And that was great thinking about the cake. Yeah, I've learned one of the things that I've sort of mastered, the skills that I developed, is the idea of like, I can always fix something. I'll always want to go back and make it better. And so now I have to think like, how do I manage my time? Because if I know that I will always want to fix something, like how am I going to make sure I have enough time to do the work I need to do, and what is necessary versus what is just extra? And so, yeah, I take that skill everywhere.
Sure.
So you've had a couple of business endeavors. So I know you from the Stinky Cakes era when that started. Was there any sort of, I guess, when did your entrepreneurial spirit start? And then what forms has that taken throughout your life?
Yeah, so I've been at it since I was 9 years old. Like, it's the only thing I know. And the thing is, with entrepreneurship, it was accidental for me. Like I said, my adopted father, he had a pest control business. I didn't know he was an entrepreneur. I just that was his job. He killed bugs. He was an exterminator. That's how he fed us. I didn't think entrepreneurship, but I had to read before I could play my Nintendo. I'm dating myself. I'm talking old school Nintendo, Mario Brothers, RC Pro-Am, Excite Bike. I'm talking like brake control.
Yeah.
So, but before I could play my video games, I had to not just read something. I had to read and articulate it. So I had to explain something that I read, and that's when I started learning about guys like John Sortino. He's the guy that started the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, and Michael Kittredge. He started Yankee Candle, and David Klein, who started Jelly Belly Jelly Beans, and then also like Wally Amos, Famous Amos, and then the Ben and Jerry guys, and like so in these magazines. Those things were like simple for me to comprehend. So that's when I think like entrepreneur. Okay, that's cool. Okay, and so I started to learn about it. But fast forward a couple of years, my grandmother, she had a sweet tooth, and she would bring like candy back from Florida that the school so they'd never go like BJ's, Costco, stuff like that. And I would just literally go to school and give the kids some of the candies. Like, oh, you got to try this Jolly Ranch. You got to try these nerds. I was just giving it away. And this is actually where I learned marketing. Didn't know I was learning marketing at the time. So, but those kids started like hounding me for candy, and I didn't realize because and that's why my definition of marketing is all marketing is telling people about stuff they would love and buy if they knew it existed. So these kids didn't know these flavors of candies existed, and I was telling them about it. But my first business decision was to tell them, you know what, I sold out. Come to the house. Actually, before I said that, what happened was I started to tell them like, yeah, I sell it now, because I figured if I told them I sell it, they would leave me alone, and they didn't. They started saying, well, how much? And I was like, well, the package said 50 cents. You got a quick thing, and that's the thing about being an entrepreneur, business person, even a salesperson, you got to be able to think on your feet. So the package said 50 cents. So I said $1. And they're like, okay. And they would give me the money. And I was like, oh, this is cool.
This is working out.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. So my first business decision ever was to tell them I sold out. And the reason I told them I sold out was because I knew they had little brothers and little sisters that weren't in our circles. Mm-hmm. So I said, I sold out, but I have more at the house. And then they would start coming to the house. And so instead of making $1, $2 at school, I was making $3, $4, $5 at the house, and that's really like once I got that, it made so much sense to me, and I didn't really figure out what I was doing until like I met Michael Kittredge from Yankee Candle. I met him at his house, and he told me in like 20. I asked him like, please tell me like how'd you go from 0 to 500 million? Like tell me your version, not the TV version, not the radio version, like not the magazine version. Like how'd you do it? And I took him back in like 20 minutes. He broke down how he did it. So he showed me this formula, which also is in my book Unrealistic. And the reason I talked about the book is I give it in more detail. Mm-hmm. but um, but basically he helped me understand like people that make money, they know how to put products and services in front of the right people, and then how to create a system around it. And I didn't realize like that's what I was doing at 9, but my brain figured it out then. And I've always been doing it, never look back. Like, so now, like, everything you see me do with Standout Truck, and even now with my role at Odyssey, which is a national agency, national digital marketing and audio company. Like, even with my role there, like, I find ways to build systems to make everything integrate. Like, I'm a systematic thinker.
Mm-hmm. You just mentioned a Standout Truck. So I think I either might have texted you or messaged you. I saw the truck a few years back, and I was so excited to see it. And so tell our listeners, what's that all about?
Yeah, so Standout Truck is this travel and digital billboard company that I started. And this, you want to talk about weird? So this
Yes.
is check this out. Like this is a weird thing about me. Like, if I ever start a business, just know it was gonna be like some kind of epidemic or pandemic. Because I started Stinky Cakes in 2008. That's when we had the Great Recession, right? When the economy crashed. And then March 9th, 2020.
Oh, no way.
This is when I started Standout Truck. So the day Biggie died was the day I started Standout Truck. That's how I'll never forget the day. It's March 9th. And then 3 days later. Now, mind you got to understand, Standout Truck, it only works with traffic. Like, we drive billboard ads in traffic.
Yeah.
So 3-4 days later, the whole world shuts down. There's no longer any traffic. You can't go outside. And I was like, you know what? That's what would happen to me. So
yeah.
But we made it. We pivoted. What happened was, after everything shut down, the first thing that one of the things that got canceled was graduation ceremonies, and that kind of bothered me because, like, I go on since 08, 09, I've been going into schools just teaching kids, how to become successful, how to set goals, all the things, how to believe in themselves, all these things. So, like, when I started hearing the schools, the kids weren't going to have graduation, and that moment with their families was going to be taken away from them. That's when I shifted my mindset with Standout Truck from being this billboard truck that was going to generate revenue for businesses that bought ads. I changed it to a celebration vehicle when we would drive these congratulatory messages right to the homes of the kids, where they was having these small gatherings, and we would take the photos from the families would be in front of the truck. We would edit them. We were doing like a lot of them a day because it was just different time. Like,
yeah, I remember people having their birthday parties, and like it was a drive-by birthday party. People would honk as they drove by the house. What a wild time! What a good pivot, though.
Well, see, but that goes back to mastery, right? That goes back to just being able to adapt and adjust. Like, that's the thing about like my definition of entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, someone who can identify a problem, create a solution for that problem, and then create a system to get paid for that solution. So that's entrepreneurship to me. It's really about being fluid and being able to get paid for it. And I think that's one of the things I've mastered, over the years, just understanding, like, if it all works out in the end, and if it didn't work out, it's not the end. And then understanding that train of thought and creating solutions for people.
I really like your definitions of all the different words that have come up, like the LBW, the definition of success, thinking about mastery. And then you were really quick with that definition of what an entrepreneur is. And I really like that. Like, it seems like for me, business, being successful, having a company, marketing, whatever it is something that people go get an MBA for. And it's honestly reserved for certain people who present a certain way. And the way that you're talking about it and describing it makes it seem like it's actually something that anyone can do. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone can identify what success is, and recognizing like all the pieces of it, but it's in a way that actually makes sense. You know, like I was like, when you said you were going to provide the definition for entrepreneur, I was like, how is he going to do this? Right? Like that's you think, how other people would describe it as like, well, it's somebody who like they have a big idea. And no, you were just really quick, if I remember correctly, identify a problem, create a solution, and then find a way to get paid for that solution.
That's it.
Like
build a system to get paid. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. You make this accessible. You make it fun. You make it something that's not, it's not hoity-toity is what I would say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I think about, of course, you had just mentioned going into the schools. You have kids, of course, that have now grown up. And so they are becoming a part of, I guess, I wouldn't say your vision, but like this is something that they're also in. So like, how do your kids fit into sort of what's happening now?
Yeah, quick rewind. So the name Stinky Cakes came from my son, Mychal. I used to change his diapers, and Adrian used to change Aiden's diapers. And Mychal walked in the room. Adrian and I was having this conversation about what should we name the company. I was going to call it Daisy Cakes. I was going to name it after like my neighbor from back home who recently passed. And Mychal came in during one of these discussions. He's like, Dad, I did Stinky. So I look at Adrian, I go, what about Stinky Cakes? And she's like, she started laughing. I started laughing. Stinky Mikey started laughing. He was like, there you go, with Stinky Cakes. But my sons are so different, right? So Mychal is a left brain thinker. Like Mychal was born 65 years old. I call him Bruce. He's like 60. He's always been 65. And Aiden is my right brain thinker. And he's like, rainbows and butterflies, like he's SpongeBob, right? So like, and like the whole thing, and I knew this about them. They're 18 months apart, and I knew this about them the whole time. So as they were growing up, I always wanted them to understand, like, if they learn to work together, they can accomplish anything. Because Mychal's a CEO / COO type, so it's Chief Executive Officer / Chief Operation Officer, and Aiden is the CEO / CMO type, Chief Marketing Officer. And they're both right, but Mychal sees things from a left brain perspective. Everything's got to be logical and make sense and structured. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Mm-hmm. And Aiden is right, but he sees everything from imagination perspective. Like anything's possible. We could just fly across the moon. And they both right. You need the steps and the structure, but you also need to have the vision to like see it through. So like that's always been the thing with them. So Mychal, what ended up happening with him at 17 years old, he was a senior in high school. And they had this class project where they had to choose a car based on their career. So Mychal told the teacher he wanted the best car, and he wanted to be, he's not even a car guy, but he just wanted to have the best car for the project. And he told his teacher he was going to be a CEO. So now everyone else's dream was fine, doctor, lawyer, blah, blah, blah. That was good. But when Mychal said he wants to be a CEO, she told him he needs to choose something.
Well, we'll pause it right there, and we'll pick this back up in episode 2 of Let's Meet Myke. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, leave a comment, or share it with your favorite curious mind. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and definitely stay weird.